You have made it? Perfect. We have Travis Hughes request for reimbursement on towed vehicle. Come on up, sir.
Good evening, Travis Hughes. I live at 1110 First Avenue South, down here by the library. I've had a lot of, I guess, just not so fun things happen to me since we moved here in October 22. The sewer line collapsed in the street right before Thanksgiving, filled my house with sewage. Got about a $70,000 bill on that. I hit that pothole in Payette on 95, snapped my axle. That was denied. That tort claim was denied through IDT. Some other things, but I was on a family vacation to Alaska, do the salmon run, fishing and stuff at lifelong dream. But I got a call by my neighbor that said that my truck was being towed. It was in the street and it was not registered, but I believe I was gone when it was tagged. Not sure about the date, but if not, it was the night before, and then we left the next morning. It's kind of a sentimental family heirloom. My best friend growing up, it was his dad's, and he died. So they kind of gave it to me as a hey, fix this up, bring it back to life.
I missed what you said about the tags. I'm sorry.
I said it wasn't licensed at the time.
Okay.
It's like it's been a 3-year restoration project, so and those downtown houses don't have a lot of garage space, so I just move it in and out of the driveway when I'm working on it and stuff. And we have 4 kids, so trying to make things nice on my wife, to be able to not have to have the kids get out of the car in the street, things like that. But I just respectfully, it just didn't seem very fair. I didn't really get a chance to move it in there, and I've been in contact with Woody's, and they basically said if I can't cover the cost, which I cannot, it's up to about $1,500 at this point, because of the plumbing bill and the other things, my axle and other things. And I'm a disabled vet too, so I sometimes don't do so well with life, but I'm doing the best I can. And I don't have the current bill, but I know when I called last Thursday, it was 2 Thursdays ago, it was right at $1,000. And I wanted to get in here as soon as I could to see if possibility of a reimbursement would be wonderful. If not, I just gotta sign them over the title and just lose it all. And I really don't wanna do that. So any consideration in that regard would be respectfully appreciated, and I'd be grateful. That's about all I have to say. Is there any questions? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So this is an action item.
Mr. Mayor, can we hear what Gary's procedure is? I mean, you get a notification that there's a parked vehicle, or you just notice the parked vehicle with no tags or registration, and
Either or. We do tag vehicles based on complaint, but this one was one that I actually tagged. It was based on observation. The vehicle didn't have any license plates on it. It was obviously inoperable. The steering wheel was sitting on the driver's seat. And I wasn't able to locate any kind of owner information, because an older pickup like that, you have to get into the pickup to look at the VIN number, which was inside the door. And so, yeah, we placed 48-hour tow sticker, and 2 days later we removed the vehicle.
So you would appear abandoned, almost, more or less.
Well, yeah, I mean, that falls under the same code, abandoned or junk vehicles, yes.
Well, I can start it. I'm not sure why this is a council agenda item. This is just operational, daily stuff that should have been taken care of at the staff or mayor level, unless there's some sort of ordinance that gives the council right to appeal things like that. Maybe the mayor's already said no and Travis is appealing it, or why is it a council?
Is that what you're asking me?
Whoever knows.
Well, I think in order to, the mayor, for this particular instance, the individual is requesting that the city pay for his storage. I would not feel comfortable as staff authorizing that bill coming to you guys, well, why did we pay that guy's tow bill?
Yeah, but wouldn't that be a mayor thing?
So from my side, my job as the mayor is to uphold and enforce ordinance to the police officers, right?
That's
So,
right.
and my conversation with Mr. Hughes was, I have the job to enforce ordinance and uphold ordinance. So I cannot go directly against our ordinance going and paying a tow
Right,
bill.
right.
But the council does have discretion to do that if they please.
What gives us the discretion? I couldn't find anything that gives us the discretion.
You don't.
Yeah.
But
We don't
now-
have a fund for this either.
If a council so wishes to make a ruling against their ordinance, I've never seen a council that didn't do that at some certain times. So I don't know if that's, helpful or not, but I've seen, over the years, I've seen many times where councils would rule against their own ordinance on a request.
But this isn't ruling against ordinance, this is asking for payment to a third party. You're asking us to pay the tow guy, right? What we're looking at here. We don't have any funds anywhere to do that I know of. Who's the tow guy?
Woody's tow.
I don't know how we go about that.
Ultimately, for the citizens' due process, my recommendation to him in our conversation was to come to the council if he so wished.
Well, you know, I understand that, but other daily payments don't come to the council, for approval. So I mean, to me, this should have been handled at a different level. I'd be a little bit leery about having an ordinance unless the chief says, you know, they didn't follow the procedure, and getting involved in this. If we need an ordinance change, we can do that. Maybe we need an ordinance change, I don't know. But we're legislative, we don't get involved in these daily.
Well, and David, even if you wanna do this, what would we take the money out of?
It's definitely not, you'd have to pull it out of somebody's operating fund, which would be the police department. It's operating fund, which they don't have the spending authority for it either.
Was this the first time you'd noticed the truck there?
No, I've noticed it before, I just not having a code enforcement officer for the summer has, pushed that burden on myself and patrol officers, and I try to pick a day a week to go out and address some of those. And that was one I'd seen for some time and addressed it.
And if I understand right, when we have a tow guy like that, once he tows it, it's his discretion as to what he charges or what storage is, and I mean, we don't have any.
The state does mandate what they can charge, but tow fees are up to, I think, $350, and it's $50 a day for storage.
I mean, my idea would be to send it back, let the mayor decide how he wants to handle it.
We have no, I don't know what we do. We can't.
But Mike, we still would approve a bill, because it still would have to come before us.
That's right.
If it's done.
Yeah.
So, I think we need to make that decision.
Well, I mean, Bobby, we don't on anything else. We approve it when it's, when it shows up in the payables, but we don't approve it before that. Right? We just give budget authority. We're not involved in the daily payables.
But in the same turn, I'm gonna be devil's advocate here, in the same turn, if we had a So in our payables that we did not want to pay, we can take them off the list.
Yeah.
So we do have that authority to do that, so why even put it on the list to begin with if we know that nobody has the money to pay for it? That's where I just learned from.
Well, if it's an ordinance issue, I would love to talk about, you know, fixing the ordinance. But, if it's just, you wanna pay this bill, that's not, at least in my view, that's not a council question.
Well, and what is it, you can only have a vehicle like that parked on the street for a day or two? It's not
48 hours.
48 hours, yeah, and how long was that parked on the street? Before you, I mean, you said you'd seen it there before.
Several weeks before I tagged it.
Unfortunately, I think part of cleaning up our town means, writing or, enforcing the ordinances that we've passed. And if I'm speeding, if I'm doing 35 and a 25, I'm gonna get a speeding ticket. And even if I didn't mean to be doing it, I didn't know the law, I'm still responsible for breaking the law. And so I wish I had $1,500 to give you, but I don't. And so I move we deny the request.
I'll second.
First and second to deny Travis Hughes' request for reimbursement on tow vehicle. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm opposed.
Motion carries. You catch that? Thank you. Next on the agenda, monitoring well easements agreement with CC Payette LLC.
We have a good explanation on this one.
So these are like groundwater monitoring wells. They happen to be in their rocks, which happens to be in the right of way, I believe, the way that I understand it. So it is property that they maintain, but it is our right of way, so therefore we have to give them an easement to put the wells in there rather than on their property, which would be in their driveway.
Are they existing wells or wells they want?
Wells they want to put in for monitoring of the location.
What are they monitoring?
Groundwater.
On people's right, or in the right of way in front of the house.
In front of the business, it's a business.
Okay, and if we grant the easement, we're not getting any money for this? That they're making money off of?
They're not making money, no, it's not like a production well, it's a well to monitor groundwater and get tested. It's usually used for Brownsfield properties, usually.
Yeah,
I was really
they
confused.
run, I believe the LLC runs like, an automotive repair, and part of what they have to do is monitor to make sure their discharge isn't polluted. And so that's what the well monitoring is about.
So I'm even confused where this is at. Looking at this map, there's no streets or no
It's
nothing.
caliber collision is what it is.
It's
Yeah,
wet.
Caliber Collision. It's, they're owned by Payette LLC, which is also a California corporation that's involved in it, but yeah. There's no liability to the city, they're indemnifying, they're just wanting to be able to meet their requirements for probably DEQ or somebody like that, to be able to monitor the water quality.
And we don't know for how long?
Those wells are usually in the ground forever. Cause they're
And-
just
And you
used
want
for
them to do
monitoring.
that, just so you know, Bobby, you want it to go on in perpetuity, because you wanna make sure that what it is they're working in conjunction with some of the other like, ditch associations that feed down the drainage ditches, and you wanna make sure that you're not polluting any of the drainage that comes into that, so they can stop it at the source as opposed to just allowing it for 10 years and hoping that it's good. You want them, as long as they're in business and running that, to continuously monitor the well situation.
Just because I'm so confused, we're gonna keep asking questions, so I get it. I understand what you're saying because of the slough, I'm guessing.
Yep.
So, if they're in violation, then what happens? Do they
Well, then they're gonna
talk to
get
the
it.
business and say,
Well, yeah, Payette LLC will get notice from whoever, like the DEQ or, you know, whatever environmental
Okay,
agency,
okay.
they're gonna get notice, and then we have a provision that we indemnify, and we can come in and we can enforce that provision if they were to, for example, sue us, we say, hey, you agreed, you have to indemnify us.
So we approving the company that's doing the monitoring, or what are we approving here?
Just the sites, just saying that you guys have the ability to do whatever you want to do, we're not taking any part in it, cause it's not your obligation, it's where the site's going to be, is within an easement or right of way, I think is how it's written in there, because they're not really sure what to call it, I think it's the right of way as far as I can tell, and they wanna be able to use that in order to monitor.
Is this because of the kind of business they are, or why do they?
Yeah,
Why
you
are they
know,
required to do this?
well, because if you've got oil runoff or things like that, or that are in the automotive industry, cause they're a collision repair facility, so, I don't know what was going on before, if there was on-site places or anything, but this is to monitor what's coming from their spot downstream so they can see what's going on.
and one last question for me. So no way are we obligated for payment to this company or anything? Somebody else has contracted them, DEQ, somebody has.
Yeah, I don't
To
think
pay.
anybody's paying them to do it, I think it's just an obligation of running the business, they've gotta monitor that to make sure that they're in
Oh,
compliance.
okay.
And so they just need to use a piece of property that we technically own, so they just want the right to be able to go in, put the well in, if something happens, they need to be able to fix it, repair it. So it's kind of, we're just sitting on and essentially saying, yeah, we own this property, but you have the right to do what you need to do on it in order to, we don't even really know what they're doing, we're just giving them the right. I'm assuming that that's what
We're
that's.
talking about well monitoring, but are they, what are they doing, just put sensors down? I mean, there's no.
Probably, I'm sure there's sensors and probably they probably so they can test the water to see what's coming out of their portion of it before it
So we're
gets.
talking about just a shallow well down that they're using with some sensors in it, I assume.
I don't wanna opine on the depth of the well because I'm not an engineer, I just read the legal word, but that's, you know.
This must be because of the location and how close it is to a wastewater.
Yeah, your
runoff.
wastewater drainage, if you look behind.
Well, I know they
where
wanted to drain
Talon
into it
Collision is,
initially.
It's actually, I believe they had to get an easement with the ditch company in order to be a little closer for some of the stuff, just because of the way that was existing. And it was hard to get, I think, their own self-drainage on the place, so now they're having to check it downstream to make sure that it's not polluting anything, so. Basically, you're just giving them the right to use it so they can dip in and find out if anything's going wrong, address it if they need to.
The indemnification says that if they do anything to, make the water quality bad or whatever, then you guys aren't gonna be liable for it.
They have to
So
step
they'll
in.
step in for you guys, so you guys aren't liable for any issues with water that they create.
And I'm
Because of the
sure,
business.
and just so you know, I'm sure that they have commercial umbrella policy with that too. I don't think you're gonna be dealing with anybody that's underinsured.
Well, I know they did something similar to this with Albertsons when they found that fuel element,
Yeah.
they had to monitor that but I think that had a time limit on it, it was in perpetuity, because they took it all out at this point, I think, didn't they?
The wells usually stay. We still have wells on Mid-America's property because they had fuel.
I was gonna say, they may cap them off, but that way they can access them again if they need to, and that's typically the
Because
process.
these are across the street on some of these, looks of it. And I wondered, it meant Caliber's probably not real happy about having to do this either, I bet, because.
I wouldn't think that they're pleased, that's a pretty big expenditure on their part.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the monitoring well easement agreement between, the city of Payette and Payette LLC, and authorize your.
Accessibility.
Sorry, I'm accessible.
Okay.
Thank you for doing so.
I have a motion, yeah, there we go. So I have a first and a second to,
I second.
Thank you.
I have one more question, and so Evan, you're happy with, well, I mean, there's nothing in here we have to worry about. right?
Yeah, I went through it, I made a quick edit, they had like, they changed one word on the one that was sent back to us, so I've read through it twice, it's
Okay.
it's good to go as far as I'm concerned.
I have a first and second to approve the monitoring well easement agreement between the city of Payette and CC Payette LLC. And authorize my signature. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. HVAC maintenance agreement with Hobson Fabrication. These are the same ones that did it last year, it's just renewing for the year. Seem to be doing a pretty okay job.
Mr. Mayor, is this something we do every year then?
Yes.
You do this, okay. I might just have one, if they, spell your name right for the contact, that would be great.
Yeah, Miss and I.
Probably so big.
Danelle.
Okay. You know, this seems kind of expensive, but I know the HVAC system at pool is pretty huge and properly maintaining it is gonna save the city money in the long run for sure.
Yeah, in today's world, it doesn't even seem that expensive.
What is is it a flat 3,052 per year? And the payments are 763, or is it?
So they're doing the maintenance based on quarterly or annual, right? So the due after each routine inspection is the 763.
Okay, so the 760, so the 3052 is the total of,
Total cost for the year.
They're doing it 4 times.
so I'll make a motion to approve the HVAC maintenance agreement for the city pool and authorize the mayor to sign it, and for the amount of $3,052 per year.
First and a second to approve the HVAC maintenance agreement with Hobson Corp. in the amount of $3,052 per year. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Steinecker,
Yes.
Wickersham.
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
Key.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda, payout number 5, Tapping 23 Reservoir. We're making progress, the reservoir is full, right?
Correct.
Full of water, no leaks.
No leaks, they're backfilling, and then they'll start doing electrical and fencing.
You gotta grow up by it, looks good.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Make a motion that we approve payout number 5 to Hackney for 20th Street Reservoir for $42,844.50.
Second.
First and second to approve payout number 5 to Tapping Inc. for the 20th Street Reservoir in the amount of $42,884.50. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Steinecker,
Yes.
Wickersham.
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
Key.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda, task order number 5 for Bancroft Park improvements for Keller Associates.
Mr. Mayor, this is not a payment, this is just the agreement that this is what they will do for us during that park thing, right? Okay.
Yes. One thing to remember, none of the engineering cost for Bancroft Park comes out of the $500,000 from the CDBG grant. It comes out of our regular funds.
It's part of our match. No?
None of the engineering on Bancroft Park was accounted for, matched, or paid for by the CDBG. That's how it was submitted.
This year's budget?
I didn't know.
I didn't either. I thought it was part of our, matching funds that came out of engineering.
This will come out of this year's budget. Assuming that they build within the budget year. Depends on when they finish, right? It might be next year.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve task order number 5 for Bancroft Park improvements, limited construction engineering support in the amount of $7,500 and authorize the mayor to sign it.
Second.
I have a first and a second to approve task order number 5 for Bancroft Park improvements in the amount of $7,500 and authorize me to sign. Any further discussion?
Are we gonna get the doughboy appraised? Where's that guy that just, I mean,
If they'll do it for free and it works out, I have no problem doing it. I'm just not going to spend taxpayer money at this point in time. It's kinda, it is what it is, it's set, and it was set in the agreement when it was passed by council multiple times, so she's moving. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Black,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
Key,
Yes.
Steinecker,
Yes.
Wickersham.
Yes.
Motion carries. Alright, last thing on the agenda, fiscal year 2026 budget. You'll see in your new budget, numbers have changed. We got new numbers from the county on projected, tax levy, reduced by about 57,000, is that the number?
Right, a little over 51.
A little over 51. So you'll see we have now a deficit in the general fund again. And, yeah,
So this basically pulls out about the number that we had when we put in new construction.
well, so the other one wasn't just new construction, it was tax roll, it was the calculation within that L2 that you have in your packet. They just got more information and calculated it harder. These are the things that they're calculating on a periodic basis to get us the final numbers. These are the final numbers, though.
That was what the county told us, these are final.
So I see that on this, on the L2, it shows that we have, I know, you don't like this word. We have, foregone and $448,000 accrued. Is that something we could use?
That's something the council could very well use if they please.
But it would have to be after the hearing.
Can you?
We'd have to hold another public hearing? Okay.
Yeah, I
Yep.
was gonna say, I don't think at this point. Come before the public hearing, but it's still possible, yeah.
So, because a public hearing is on the 18th, so we'd have to have another public hearing on top of that. What do we do?
So what did you do?
So you'll see, so in order to offset it, all the capital outlay for police and fire was taken out, what was put in prior. I also talked to Chief Marshall, and we cut about $2,500 out of the SRO spending, which is in law enforcement line 547. So that went from 5,000 to 2,500. And I believe those were the only two changes, is that right, David?
That's correct, yes.
So our deficit is 34,192, you'll see that on page 30, our deficit in the general fund.
Okay, so just so I'm clear on all of this, we have to wait until, what do we have to do? Do we have to wait until after the public hearing to make any changes? Or we should? Yeah, because we
Well, we have a tentative budget.
have a tentative budget of 16,830 something, I wrote it down. So we approved $16,832,068. And this current budget is $16,809,797. Alright, so we're having a hearing on the 18th to see if the public's gonna approve 16,832.
That's currently where you currently stand, that's correct.
Okay,
But, your tentative just caps you as, you just can't go over.
we can't go over that,
Can't
yeah.
go over, correct. And that just caps your expenditures, not your revenues or anything. And so you can't add more expenditures to go over what you approved on your tentative.
And what was the action that we expected? Did we expect to take some action? I mean, it's an action item.
Yeah, well, my expectation is that you reduce the deficit by 34,000.
Okay.
suggest we pull that. So I'm a little confused because it was, unless I'm bringing it was last budget, that we thought we had a lot more new construction. Were they that far off?
No, the worksheet that we got a month ago was not all new construction, it was the calculation within the 3% of the overall levy as well. Something changed, we don't know exactly what changed, but it was on their calculations, not on ours. One thing for information that I had staff print off some stuff for me is I pulled back from 21 to 24, the L2s, an interesting trend. In 21, we had a fund balance, which we called it unencumbered funds in those days, of $214,000 we spent out of the general fund, as well as we had $91,000 in foregone that we took above and beyond our 3%.
What was that, 21?
In 21. In 22, we had $244,000 in fund balance being spent, as well as $87,000 in foregone being collected. In 23, we had $333,000 in fund balance being spent, as well as $97,000 in foregone being collected. In 2024, this current budget, we have $351,000 in fund balance being spent in our current budget with zero foregone.
Mr. Mayor?
This was last year?
This
The
is
foregone,
for you to read.
I don't remember doing foregone, that we took any foregone money or had a public hearing on that.
We did,
And we have
not
to have-
last year, we did 1 year though.
You did 3 years. We did it at 21, 22, and 20.
You took foregone every single year, and what did you use the foregone for? Did you have to use it for something specific?
We did River Street at one point.
I think 21 was River, or 22 was River Street. You know, I remember the 23 discussion was either a park or a street. There was a weird one that one got flip-flopped around.
I don't remember 1 year we took foregone.
I don't remember, I don't either.
A portion of that always went into O&M, into the general fund, they know that. I couldn't, this doesn't tell me exactly where the foregone went in, I'd have to go look at those budgets to know where the foregone was calculated in, and actually it might be on your,
So you're saying 22, 23?
21, 22, 23.
21, 22,
I
23.
just remember the one, I don't remember.
And my memory is there were several years that we.
I guess because we're not taking foregone in here, it's not on our worksheet, Correct.
We're not,
because we didn't propose foregone. It's just, it's one of those things, we can only tax 3%, more. We're not making much headway, and.
So David, I have a question. So we did this based on the numbers that we were given, so we left foregone out of the picture. Based on the reduced numbers, what do we have to do if we have to reconsider foregone for the 34 to balance?
if you wanna do foregone, there's a process we have to go through, to accept foregone. If that's something this council wants to do, we need to move pretty rapidly on that, so we can meet the deadlines. If there's still time, we'd have to dig into that, see if there's still time to meet the deadlines on foregone.
I guess I'd like to know that, because that's, I mean, we did this based on what we thought we were told we were gonna get, and now we aren't gonna get that, so. I would at least like to know what the process is, and if we can pull that, if we can do that for that amount of money. I don't like foregone, I don't like the word, but part of the problem that we have faced now is because they limited us to the 3%, we have a different picture than we did 5 or 10 years ago when we didn't have that limit.
Well, another crazy number to look at is our general fund went from 2.9 million in 21 to 4.2 million in 24.
Yeah.
And all of those years, I will agree, we were assured that we had plenty of money.
things that are, that, like I said, that are eating us up. If you take 10% every year on, or 7 to 10% on health insurance, and you take the increases in wages and stuff, and yeah, it's big numbers, and 3% doesn't cover it. So I don't know about anybody else, as bad as I hate the word foregone, I'd like to look at what it would take to do the foregone to cover what they reduced on us on the taxable funded side of it, so property taxes. I don't know what anybody else feels about that, but.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting the information.
But it has to be soon, like
That's what we need
special.
to find out.
meetings.
That's,
Yeah, we'll get on that, first thing in the morning and just see what the timeframes are. And see if
we have to
still
have a
time.
special meeting or something, then I would say let's
If
look
we got
at.
time, I'd like to do it, but it's only 2 weeks away, so I don't know if we can meet the deadline to have two public hearings on the 18th. But I think we're about a week early on, with the 18th, so maybe the following week, like I said, we'll check the timeframes and see if we can get the notices done in time before we get the L2s back to the county. Cause L2's gotta be back to the county usually about the first week of September, so.
Right.
We're crunching here.
Okay, all right, anyway, that's, my gut feeling tells me let's look at that and see what we have to do, that's what it takes to balance it out.
Well, and knowing what we know now, I would like to look at our donations again, because, we left the senior center at 5,000 last time, even though.
Yeah, but we know we can definitely cover that 34,000, that's why.
I know, but it's,
We plan on that one going away or going somewhere else anyway, at least I did in my head. But we knew we can bring this down a little bit, but I don't think we can bring it down 34,000 unless we cut out
we
the
could still
1%.
bring it down 2,500.
That still doesn't cover it.
No, but it helps. Every little bit helps.
Well, we don't have to take all that foregone, but we need to know if we have an answer to do it, either that or we take 1% back out. I don't know what that does for us, but.
1% for the employee increase. Well, I wouldn't wanna take that away.
Well, then,
I mean,
then we better find out where we can get more money.
So, Mr. Mayor, so David, would it be best that we make a motion that if we can use foregone, that we proceed with that in the amount of this?
Yeah, what we can do is, we'll just go ahead and start the process on the foregone. It's really, I don't need a motion if the council,
Okay.
if the consensus of the council is that they wanna move forward and trying to take X amount of dollars in foregone, we'll go ahead and start that process and just put it in the wheels of motion.
Is there any council objection to take it foregone?
the amount of 34,000.
Or whatever we need, I mean, I would do that. If we can cut some other stuff, we may not need it, but we need to at least cover that kind of money if we say the budget we got right now.
I mean, that is a question, do you guys wanna take it in the amount of the 34,000 or in the amount of the difference in your tentative? Where do you guys fit that? Would you rather take the 51,000 or 51,000, correct?
Yeah, that was,
$51,000
I
reduction?
think it was 51,000 and change, we can get that exact number. on
So you,
What did you say we had it for?
400 and some thousand, I think it's, if I read the number.
I thought.
I don't quite understand.
When you talk about that amount of money spread out over it, I mean, it isn't a lot of, but, I mean, when we can't raise the 3%, that's what we got, so I think we need to look at. I have, at that amount of money, 51 split out, I would have no problem looking at that one too, but I at least wanna know what we can do in foregone.
So
we
like,
can do a maximum of 8% with foregone.
so eight percent,
That's the statute.
okay, so 8% of,
Maximum 8% overall.
okay, so we have a total accrued foregone balance, is that what we're allowed to take then?
No, because your total budget can't go up more than 8%.
Okay. Okay,
So if you can take, if the 51,000 falls within the 8% overall, you guys want to take the 51,000.
Well, that would be erasing the savings that you took out of it, right? I mean, you reduced a few things from the last budget that we saw in this one. And if we took the 51,000, we'd be putting those back, right?
Yep.
You wanna do that?
No. I do not,
I will back you up on that.
but I have been against foregone from day one.
I've never been a
offense foregone, but we had a different situation when that happened, and that is that we didn't have the 3% cap. That puts a big crunch on you. You can't cover what you need in the budget.
Well, we're just gonna take a look at it, so. That's all it is. We can always decide not to later. We don't even know if we can.
Yeah, there's
I guess
definitely
two
some-
answers, what can we, and how much can we? That's what we need to know. Can we, or is it too late?
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll just look at, see the time frame, and we'll take a look at all of the strings that are attached to, because it's, the state legislature has really cracked down on how foregone is used, what it can be used for, and if in the following year that the levy has to be reduced to offset that. So those are all things that we will look into.
Okay, does the council wanna do any adjustments on the budget?
Until here from the people.
Good. So, in that case, shall we move on?
Can we table this action on that? Okay.
There's no action needed.
Okay, no action.
Council comments?
I would like to spend a little time on the impact area, but I can,
No, let's go in order.
is that okay? I got
Thank you.
homework to say. Yeah, I need my exercise. So this is like a rough draft I drew up, and I wanna walk you guys through it just to get the logic, straight. So the first statement is, Idaho code finds that the area of impact is properly under the jurisdiction of the county. I don't think that means that they wanna throw out all of the comprehensive planning and start over. I think that just means the final approval is in the county. The very next paragraph in that same Idaho code says that an area of impact is where growth and development are expected to occur, and they should be planned for growth and development and not be used to stop growth and development. That comes right out of the Idaho code. So they're telling us that it shouldn't be used the way it has been used for the past decade or so, that the impact area just stopped, any development. And the Payette comprehensive plan, they have a stated goal to conserve agricultural lands for future generations. And by supporting agricultural uses and opportunities, one of the ways you do that is develop land that is not agricultural in the impact area. And that's pretty basic. And strategies in the comprehensive plan, this is the county comprehensive plan, include avoidance of agricultural lands to residential or non-agricultural commercial uses through development of rural residential planned unit developments and discouraging increased housing density in agricultural areas. So they're saying that they want to develop commercial and rural residential within the impact area. They don't have any rules for that. So the only rules that they can follow are their own, like the development rules for the county, the density for the county. That doesn't achieve their objective. So for them to adopt our rules and our density in the impact area would help them achieve their objective. It also states in the county comprehensive plan that they want to collaborate with cities to encourage industrial and commercial uses and residential subdivisions within the areas of impact. So they wanna encourage, residential subdivisions in the area of impact. And we want them to use our subdivision code to do that. So when the city grows to that area, we can absorb it into the city without the same kind of problems as this Air subdivision. Because this Air's got streets that don't comply to, I think that's the biggest problem, streets and road curves and gutters and sidewalks and that don't comply to city standards. So if we can address that up front, when the city grows to that point, we can absorb that subdivision without that kind of problem. And, also Payette County did officially adopt our comp plan and our map. They made it a part of the law, but, with my discussions with them, and the mayor's had discussions with them that I wasn't involved in, they told me that they adopted the map but not the plan, and a bunch of crazy stuff like that. I mean, the map is meaningless without the plan, because the plan has the definitions of the map on it, so it's just been kind of a bunch of nonsense. And the rest of it was, I put that statement in: Payette County hereby recognizes the importance of working in concordance with the city comp plan to achieve well-planned and controlled growth, because I think that's what they need to do, but that's my statement. And then the rest of it is kind of just plagiarizing what Washington County has, which I think Washington County has a good plan for, so that any development in the impact area goes through, the city, and then it goes to the county commissioners for final approval. That way the city can look at the development against our plan and come up with development agreements for stuff that we think needs to be added later, but doesn't need to be added right at first. But anyway, it goes through the city to make sure it fits our comp plan, and then it goes to the county commissioners for final approval. And I think if we could get them to agree to that, it would solve a lot of problems. The last couple of pages are something called a land assessment or land evaluation and site assessment, which I think comes from the USDA. I can't remember, but it's what governments use to score agricultural land, and it's really comprehensive. And probably what we would want to do is form a committee with the county to come up with our own version of that's something that's actually encouraged in the document, so that we can have a fair scoring system for prime agricultural land, because we don't want to develop prime agricultural land, but we don't want to stop development of land that's not prime agricultural land. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, make you the land commissioner.
Sounds like a really interesting job.
The problem I have with the definition of prime agricultural land is it can be that way, and then you take it out of production, just so they can control what it's gonna be called in 5 years.
Well, I think that's what the land evaluation and site assessment does, because it takes into account the soil type and the water rights and the terrain, and it defines what a prime agricultural land is, and people kind of know that anyway, because prime agricultural land is being farmed, but this is a way to score it, so.
It's apparently Melvin Star and all those cities don't understand it.
I'm correct, so you can always look to that one as a little bit of a template for discussion purposes.
That's what this is.
Yeah. And theirs is pretty stringent, at least as applied.
It's a lot of work. Thank you. Now what?
Nothing, I just wanted to get that information out there to you guys, so that when we talk about it, you will have the benefit of having that information.
I'm gonna call us Jim's impact. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
Councilman.
Evan, you're not gonna, I don't think you're gonna know the answer to this, but at our last meeting, the council, decided not to, if I'm misstating this, correct me, decided not to build the senior center for water and sewer. Right?
Indeed.
You were here. And so I was looking through the ordinances, and all the ordinances use the word shall and will, and, when they're talking about billing, water accounts and wastewater accounts. And rates are set by resolution. So how are we gonna have you thought anything about how we treat one account different than all the others?
I haven't thought about that, and I'm happy to look into what we need to do as far as ordinance and resolution wise. I think that's probably the area to look into, because if we've got shalls, I tend to agree with you, those are mandatory until we change the language to account for whatever we want. And as far as approving a lower rate for seniors, I think there's a rational basis for it, so I think that would survive any constitutional challenge.
I agree. And
That's what I'm getting.
and it's in the resolution, the senior rate's in the resolution. But as you waive other fees, you know, do all those need to be in the resolution? I don't know. Or do we just need to change the ordinance to allow the council not to charge for
senior
water?
center. Yeah, I think that whatever you wanna waive with them, that's the language that I would use. Always in my mind, with anything like that, the more clarity we have, the better, because you're always sued on the fringes of it where ambiguities exist. So if you're just saying we're gonna give the senior center this allowance, I mean, you've got a pretty rational basis for it, otherwise we take it out of the general fund and we pay it to them. Why not give them the light fund and then they can use it on something else? I don't see any problem with that, but yeah, I agree, I'm happy to look into that, I just don't know which ordinances right now or what we need to do, but I'm happy to look into that.
Thank you.
Any other council comments?
I have a couple questions, sorry, I just have a couple questions. Our hardener ordinance, is that not coming to us, or is
It's
just?
gonna be effective October first, so we've been dealing with budgetary issues right now.
Okay, so that will be coming to us still.
Yes, I believe the public hearing has been, when is the public hearing set, that next meeting? No, meeting.
Yeah,
Already
we've
done
already done the public.
The ordinance is coming, 18, so same budget day.
Okay, and then I just have one other question. I know that we had signed an agreement with that SRO for the school district. Do we not have to sign a new one with the new money?
I don't think was the money on the MOU?
The money isn't part of the MOU. The MOU just basically clarifies the operations as the SRO as my officer. But I do need to, before school starts, we'll have the updated one for this year.
Okay,
Because the contract runs, or the MOU runs to, I think, may have been July 31st, might be August 18th when school starts this year. So usually the start of school until the
okay,
that summer.
those move on.
That brought up a curiosity. Gary, so you have a guy that's assigned to that. When the school's not in stuff, I'm assuming you use him. What's his function when school's not going?
He covers patrol.
He's on patrol. Okay, that's what I assumed, but I just was curious because that takes him off of patrol during the school. Okay.
No other council comments? Mayor's comments, we had the, pre-construction meeting with, Idaho Site Works, and Region 4 was there, and they are looking at a beginning of October, was it October 4th?
Seven,
7th?
that's right, seven.
4th, yeah. October 7th start date for Bancroft Park.
Okay, so we will be good for the cruise night. I've been putting that on contingency.
Yeah, and the earliest start date, because I was hoping that we could go earlier than October 4th or 7th, earliest will be mid-September, so it'll be after Cruise Night.
But hopefully, just to follow up, Mayor, so that was when they were gonna start, but the end time, we didn't have a time when we were gonna start.
Tammy's only got 5 days of work there max.
Okay, okay.
Cruise night is.
Isn't that right, Jamie?
I don't need to stretch it out all winter.
Cruise night's the 5th, so I just wanted, I put that contingency in case that was available, but it'll be a whole lot easier if that part is available.
Yeah, we'll leave it open for that, and then, if we have to shut it down Monday after cruise, that's what we'll do, but, I think it worked out for cruise night for sure.
Good.
We have paperwork for cruise night?
I thought, Donna Peterson was supposed to submit that.
Maybe.
I will ding her, because she was gonna take care of that.
That might be
Did you
nice.
get-
And Donna's pretty prompt, so I ignored that one.
My application to use Central Park on the 5th, did you get my application? I turned it in
I will text
July
Donna.
16th. Or something before then.
So the other thing, the senior center changed. Changed the date that they're doing the recognition.
Yes, the 22nd.
They're doing it on the 22nd now. on the 22nd at noon.
On Friday? Is that right?
I think so. Let me look. No, August 23rd, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. So please put that in your calendars. Change that from the 16th to the 23rd. And that is all I have.
You know, what's the meeting for next month, week, or next time?
Oh, yes, so you would see it on the agenda, but we were invited to the Payette School, if you open these, for their CTE building. They happen to do it on the 18th, which we have a public hearing at 5:30. So in talking to the superintendent, they will be there to give us a private tour of the facility at 4:30. So we're gonna start the meeting at 4:30 on the 18th at the CTE building. That's where we will start the meeting. And then we will be back here by 5:30 for the public hearing.
Thank you.
That's it. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
A second?
First and second to adjourn. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.